Hi there, I'm attorney Kelly Longtin from Kelly Longtin Law, and today I'm going to talk to you about what is HEMS and why is it included in so many trusts. So in the world of estate planning, you may come across the acronym HEMS from time to time. HEMS stands for Health, Education, Maintenance, or Support, and it's frequently included in trust agreements to guide a trustee on the types of distributions that they may make to a trust beneficiary. When a trustee is limited to this type of distribution standard, often called an ascertainable standard, they must ensure that whatever they distribute to the beneficiaries falls within one of the four categories. Failure to do so can have a variety of negative results, including tax consequences and loss of asset protection. There are two reasons why you use a HEMS standard in trusts. The first is tax purposes. One important reason for the HEMS standard is frequently used in trust is that, from a tax perspective, if a trust beneficiary is also the trustee, the HEMS standard prevents the value of the accounts and property in the trust from being included in the beneficiary's gross estate for federal estate tax purposes. Likewise, if a trust maker has created a trust to transfer accounts and property out of their taxable estate, but also wants to act as a trustee to make distributions to the other trust beneficiaries, the HEMS standard, if included, prevents the trust's property from being included in the trust maker's taxable estate. The HEMS standard is an IRS safe harbor rule and can prevent the property in the trust from being subject to estate taxes at the death of the beneficiary or the trust maker. Another very important reason to use a HEMS distribution standard in trusts is that when combined with a spendthrift provision, it can prevent a beneficiary's creditors from obtaining trust property by filing a lawsuit against the beneficiary. By legally limiting the purposes for which the trustee can make distributions to the beneficiary, the trust maker has built important asset protection features into the trust. For example, if a beneficiary were being sued and the opposing party demanded that the trustee or beneficiary use trust property to pay the lawsuit judgment, the beneficiary and the trustee could both truthfully refuse because the trust clearly does not allow distributions for that purpose. In other words, a trustee would have a very hard time trying to include payments to a beneficiary's creditors in the standard of allowable distributions for the beneficiary's health, education, maintenance, or support. And because the trustee has a fiduciary responsibility to the trust beneficiary and not to the beneficiary's creditors, the HEMS standard becomes a very effective tool to prevent lawsuit plaintiffs and creditors from reaching that trust property. The effect is generally true even if the trustee and the beneficiary are the same person. So let's talk about what exactly fits within this HEMS standard. And that's a common question among trustees making distributions that are limited to this standard. Unfortunately, there's no clear, bright line definition of what fits and what doesn't. Such ambiguity, while frustrating, also allows enough flexibility that a trustee has some discretion to do what is in the beneficiary's best interest. The following that I'm going to discuss with you are some examples of the types of expenses that HEMS standards might include. So you can see in front of you under the health category, it can be eyeglasses and eyewear and allergen cleaning services, cosmetic surgeries, alternative medical treatments, substance abuse rehabilitation programs, extended vacations or retreats to improve one's mental health, health-related home improvements or renovations, home health care or long-term care expenses, gym and spa and golf club memberships, exercise equipment, healthcare supplements, psychiatric treatments, handicapped transport or mobility services, regular healthcare checkups and exams, as well as emergency and regular treatment overall, dental, vision, and also mental health counseling. Now, under the education category, we have tuition for all levels of public and private schools, graduate and professional degrees, including medical school and law school. It also covers study abroad programs and any expenses that are associated with it, the beneficiary support between semesters and during unpaid internships. There's also school-related expenses like room and board and books and computers and supplies. Covers private tutoring, extracurricular activities, graduation costs, prom dress, class rings, announcements, career training. This also covers daycare for dependents that actually allows the parent to be able to attend classes and study. It will also cover any uniform or school clothes that one may need to purchase in order to fulfill their educational requirements. And under the maintenance and support category, because this is usually a big question that people ask, and this just covers an array of things: rent and mortgage payments, maybe a down payment on a home, covers living expenses and support for the beneficiary that's engaged in charitable work or low income employment. Maybe it's a teacher or provides some other community benefits, but it's just not high paying. Covers insurance premiums like life and auto and disability or homeowners. Covers vehicles and the repairs that are needed, and also charitable contributions. It allows them to continue to give gifts like they always have for birthdays and weddings and holidays and things of that nature. Also covers property taxes, legal fees. You can support other family members. You can use it for vacations, home repair, maintenance. You can also use the money in order to start a business if that's what a beneficiary was looking for. So it's important to remember that the things that I just discussed with you as far as what's allowed under the HEMS standard are just some examples of the expenses that can commonly be justified under the HEMS standard. A trustee can exercise some judiciousness when making distributions to demonstrate to potential lawsuit plaintiffs, judges, and the IRS that the HEMS standard is in fact preventing the beneficiary from having complete control over the trust property. For example, if the trustee distributes enough money for the beneficiary to purchase and drive a Ferrari when the beneficiary normally drives a Toyota, or to take a 6-month vacation to Greece each year instead of a typical 1 week to Disney World, that beneficiary and their family are accustomed to, the trustee may be putting the trust tax and asset protection properties at risk by disregarding its terms. Now, the HEMS standard is widely used in drafting trusts for good reason. Used properly, not only can it be a powerful and effective tool to reduce the risk of unnecessary taxation at each generation as wealth passes through the family, but it can also protect trust property from people who should not have access to it, such as creditors or divorcing spouses and predators. If you have any questions about what qualifies as an appropriate distribution under the HEMS standard, please reach out to us. We have the experience and the knowledge to guide you through these consequential decisions. So I want to thank you for watching. I hope you found this educational and helpful for you. I'm attorney Kelly Longtin from Kelly Longtin Law, where we provide effective estate planning to everyday families.